So just to acknowledge the celebration of Latvian independence. So here we have, and we might see this item as well in this talk and other talks. As you heard, I have a YouTube channel and where I explain the major, let's say, challenges where we can combine sophisticated technologies like artificial intelligence with our well-being or with our business goals, wherever we want to go. I think technologies are great tools, just like this is a great tool to understand many things. Also, technologies are great as well. So that's going to be the primary conversation topic from me today. So let's start with just telling a little bit more that I do at the EM Normandie Business School. So yes, I'm a professor of transformation, and I'm also academic director of a graduate program. It's a new graduate program. It's a collaboration between two schools. We are the business school. We have a joint program with the engineering school. And I think the world is going that direction, or is willing to go that direction, where we combine the technology capacity and technology power to address the business needs in our case. And therefore we have two schools. We have a joint program, and it's called Artificial Intelligence for Marketing Strategy. I'm an academic director on the business school. We have another academic director at the engineering school, and the students arrive and they will get double degree. So they will have diploma from both schools. And I think that's the trajectory that many institutions are trying to go. And what I really invite students, and not only students, but also when I work with industry and I give talks and master classes, it's how we can improve the performance. Because I think that's the essential fundamental question for everybody. Performance of the students in a class, performance of the employees in their organizations, performance of our societies. And therefore, if we can leverage technology and use sophisticated technology like artificial intelligence to help ourselves to achieve our goals, that means our goals are to improve our performance. This is what I mean getting to the hyper performance. When I show this image, and there is this gentleman, and I always invite to think about one particular question. And let's imagine this person is a CEO of a company, a large company, global international company. And most likely this kind of a profile of the people, they have good salary, high salary. And most likely they receive maybe 5 million a year, maybe 10, depends on the company. And now is the question, why they are paid such a high value or high salary? And there is a very straightforward answer, because these people are great at doing one thing excellently. They do high accuracy decision making. And if we think about our students, we also want to help them to achieve the same thing. We want our students to make their decisions with high accuracy, according to how they learn, according to their how they prepare for their exams. And then later in their lives, they will be with a high accuracy decision making in their daily lives, in their professions. And either they are individual consultants or they are in organizations. It's all about how we can make better decisions. And here is the quote from another professor, Jim Taylor from the University of San Francisco, which says that what are the barriers for decision making is very straightforward. We have studied already our psychology, so our social psychology. It's cognitive biases. It's how we people, we look out to the world and we construct our own perspectives, our own realities. And in those own perspectives and realities, there are these biases. And we look at the world and we don't see that world as clearly as it is, or we try to create our own perspectives and we add our own opinions. And as it's here highlighted with the red square, is at the end of the day, the best decisions for you and your company, if they are made the best way, this is what helps the performance, your individual performance. And you can be as individual as a student or employee or as a business leader. So it's all about how we can improve decision making. And just to reflect, it's important to understand that technology is a tool. And if the tool is well designed, it is going to work better. And also, if the tool is well designed, but it's in the hands of the people that are not aware how to use it, also it cannot produce the best optimal outcome. And this is just a quote that I found recently online, which says, which is just exemplifies that our decision making and our biases can be very strong, and our willingness to find shortcuts in life. And again, we understand why people look for shortcuts, because it's energy saving. It's how we evolve. We try to find the ways that is less energy demanding. And here is this quote just saying that a person saw a book that is called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems. So the person bought 2 of the books. So assuming like 50 plus 50 is 100% of the problems, which is not according to reality. And in reality, yes, you can solve your problems by putting the best of you. Somebody is unmuted, so please mute. And here is this Harvard Business Review article, which discusses how the decision-making can be correlated and can be co-designed with the artificial intelligence. Obviously, we have the big data, artificial intelligence, and different technologies that are analyzing data and providing us insights, but then still the arrow points to the human judgment. And currently still in many industries, in many places, humans make the final decision by looking at the data provided by the AI. And if the humans still have the biases, then these business decisions or these educational decisions might not be the most optimal and not producing the most results. So just to exemplify where we are with technologies and trying to help ourselves to understand how our brains work, I'm going to play a few videos during my presentation, and I hope the sound's going to go through well. If the sound doesn't go through, just let me know. And let's go.
A Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
The small, easy-to-install brain-computer interface could be used to expand the capabilities of humans, changing the way we interact with technology and treat neural and mobility issues. Who knows? Maybe Neuralink will allow us to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence. Would you get a Neuralink implant?
And just to give you a little bit more information, that's a tiny, tiny chip, like a size of the small 1-cent coin, which is placed into the skull and connected with tiny wires into the neural networks in the brain. And that is called like a brain-computer interface. What does it do? It accelerates or it fastens up the connection, the data interchange connection between the computers and the brain directly. Currently, we are using the computers and phones by typing, by speaking, and it's a very slow data rate. It's just like improving the internet. Like you can improve internet at your office, at your home, and that's improving internet connection to the brain. And I think they are doing a great job, because in the next video, you will see they have implemented 2 of these chips here for this animal. And you can see, you will later see in the video how the animal is playing the game even without, like, just using its brain.
This is Pager. He's a 9-year-old macaque who had a Neuralink placed in each side of his brain about 6 weeks ago. We can interact with the Neuralinks simply by pairing them to an iPhone, just as you might pair your phone to a Bluetooth speaker. We're wirelessly streaming, in real time, the firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer. Pager still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity. To control his paddle, on the right side of the screen, Pager simply thinks about moving his hand up or down. We've removed the joystick altogether. It's not magic. The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical signals from the brain.
So technology that is helping us, first of all, understanding how our brains work. Secondly, helping us to use our brains directly interacting with technology, bypassing speaking, typing, all those kind of things. That kind of is good trajectory, and most likely we'll learn a lot about how actually our thoughts emerge, how decisions are actually originating in our brains. That's excellent. But at the same time, we are not there yet using these technologies. And of course, we have to be very careful about the ethical questions and all of those concerns. But at the same time, currently, still people are in charge in making final decisions in many cases. So therefore, we have to know what's happening in our brains today, and also look for this, let's say, barriers in our decision making. And once we remove those barriers and remove our biases, remove our prejudices, then this is what enables the hyper performance to emerge. So to explain what I mean by that is, if we take this simple graph, so we have a timeline and as a horizontal axis, and we have the performance. Most of the times, if, for example, organization would like their employees to perform better, what they do, they sometimes send them to an inspirational talk, maybe just like this one. But the effect is very short term. So the people get inspiration, but after a few days, they get back to their routines and the performance comes back to where there was, or a little bit better. The second is training. So people can be sent for a 2-day, 3-day, 2-month training. And there might be this wave a little bit slower. So people are trained and learn more. But still, again, when they return back to their environments, the effect might not be achieved as great as expected. So everyone, whether you are in the educational system, whether you are in a business system, whether you are just caring about societal development, everybody would like this trajectory. That over time, there is a very steady, very permanent increase of performance. And now the question, what's then on this arrow? And it's not surprising, it's knowledge. Knowledge is fundamental, so we learn new things. But then we also need to make the knowledge into action, the behavior. And there is sometimes this gap. So people learn things, but they are not actually doing that. And if we actually achieve this blend, or the connection, the knowledge and behavior, this is what I call integration. And I will explain how it starts with the neural networks in our brains, and then through our physiology, psychology, into the social environments. So that's the best way how we can get to the hyper performance. So we need to look back to ourselves and know that we have this human resistance. And this video will show that.
This is called a wheel. Now, according to its developers, it'll change the way we work and live. Why? Because it rolls. It can also be added to wagons to make moving a heavy load easier. Your opinions?
If it rolls, that means it could roll away and get lost, right? Or it could roll over your foot. Do you have it in, square?
No square.
If there was a square one, yeah, it didn't roll. Then maybe I would think about buying one. Nice try. The wheel.
So human resistance is still with us, and we have to be very knowledgeable how it works. And this is why it's so important to understand. So if humans don't change in 365 days, it's the same human at the end. The same happens with the organization. So it's very important to realize that if we really want to make a change, there has to be an improvement every day. And here, mathematically, even if you improve 1% a day, you get the completely different result, which is 37. And if you just 1% less, again, you have a completely different result the other way. So this is the essence of transformation and why it's so important. So as I told, so where is this resistance? So this resistance is actually it can be explained from the neural connections in our brains. And you can see currently just a very simplified version. There are neurons and they have these connections, and there are the synapses between these connections, these red parts. And you see they are not hardwired, but of course they are stronger wired sometimes. But if you don't use that, for example, old habit, they're unwiring. And this is called neuroplasticity. So therefore, we have that. It's given to every human being. And if we want to change the way we think, our brains are capable to accommodate that, which means they unwire some of the earlier networks if you don't use them anymore, and they rewire differently to accommodate your new habits. And even more on the behavioral science level, this is a book, and if you have read it, you know that there are two brain parts. So one is referred to be very fast, reactive, emotional, instinctive. That's kind of what we share with the other animals on the planet. And then the other part, which is logical, rational, analytical, and slow, and that's is the frontal cortex. And those two parts are responsible for how we make decisions. And at the same time, these two brain parts are trying to see the reality as clear as possible, which is not always at a good level. So even in this video, you kind of see the cue, but let's see, is it really what we see? So as you saw, that the expectation was that there is a physical three-dimensional cube, but it wasn't there. So therefore, there is something about the brains that is not perfect, and we better learn about what's not that perfect so that we can improve. So as I said, there are two parts from the book, instinctive intelligence, and also there are something that we also know, which is a kind of inner resistance. And the ultimate better outcome would be if we are managing our brains the best possible way, so our decisions are at the highest capacity. And just to let you experience some of those aspects, how our brains can be improved or consolidated, all these brain parts can be made in a more coherent, I welcome you to the brain gym. I assume rarely people have been. Some people go to the regular gym, but how about the brains? Brains also need to be trained to be more accurate. And these are some of the exercises I usually provide also to my students and also to the organizations. Here are the three cars. And instinctively, it seems that the closest car is smaller and the further car is bigger. But let's remove the background and put them next to each other. And they are exactly the same thing. So this is an example where our brains fail. Our brains fail to read the reality accurately. And that means if we apply the same understanding to some educational setting or some business setting, then that means it decreases our capacity to make better decisions. Here is another example where you see the square A and square B, and the background color of square A and background color of square B. And the question is, are those colors the same or different? Instincts would say, well, they are different. But let's take a piece from the square A and move it to the square B. And then for a moment, you think, well, actually, it looks like it's the same color, but now again, it seems different. So let's do it again. And just to make sure that we give the clear picture for our intellectual part of the brain, let's build a bridge. Oh, now they are the same. So therefore, if you would like also, and that you could do individually, if you want to help your brains to be more consolidated, you can look to the left, look to the right, look to the left, look to the right, and you will see after some time, you will also see that these background colors of the squares on the left are the same. I've been doing this so many times that I already have that integration. So congratulations, you quickly went through the very introductory part of the brain gym. So that's nice. And here is another response from the artificial intelligence saying how the artificial intelligence can help humans, especially in what areas?
And how can you help humans to have a better quality of life?
Humans often rely on gut feel or have confirmation bias in your decision making. As AI, we are designed to be rational and logical. We have algorithms, deal with lots of data and sophisticated analyses. So in many ways, we provide a systematic framework for humans to make better decisions.
So it's all about how we can leverage this powerful technology to help ourselves. this is a model that we constructed as a research study, and we tested this model in several areas already. So usually expectation is there's a new knowledge and there will be followed behavior. It can be in society, it can be in organizations, it can be in a school. And if it doesn't happen, if the people don't follow, then they are either punished by the stick or they are rewarded with the carrot if they perform a good behavior. But in a research study, we found out that there is much more profound way how we can get from a new knowledge, which is a change, into the fundamentally sustainable behavior. And this is through acceptance and intention. We applied that to some of the organizational challenges, and this also can happen with the students when they arrive late to the classroom, or in organizations, people arriving late to the meetings. And that was an organization in Latvia, and that was part of the executive MBA program from the Riga Business School. And one of the students, one of the managers of the company introduced this solution, and they achieved from 65% being on time to the meetings to the 100% within 5 meetings. Technology very simple, but you can easily imagine artificial intelligence can do all of this recognition, who is arriving, when is arriving, before the meeting, after the meeting. And if you were on time, you get the color for that meeting. And if you were late, you didn't get the color. And this graphical representation in the meeting room instantly to everybody didn't use any carrots or sticks or any punishments or rewards, but it was just like integrated the social influence fundamentals, which were helping people to realize, okay, I'm gonna better come to the meetings on time. So what we do also in our curriculum, we have offered this kind of technology design frameworks for the transformation and change. And of course, we are discussing how artificial intelligence can help this process to be accelerated. So this is more scientifically driven collection of the tools that when implemented and when understood in the sequence, it helps to design these solutions that are fundamentally transforming how we work, how we live. And this also was applied in one of the students' work at MIT that we did. MIT Media Lab is about how you can in grocery stores, by labeling products healthy or unhealthy, the instant feedback on this monitor can help to people realize what are their choices and learn from that, and also see the collective results of that. And to conclude, I would say, I would rather invite to think about not being artificial intelligence something different. I would invite to think about, we have, as a humans, created a lot of intelligence through the writing, speaking, libraries, printing, internet. And now we have another agent, which is technology driven, which is also contributing to make intelligence bigger, broader, and more accessible. So therefore, that's kind of a conclusive thought. I have some other materials, but I don't want to take over time. I see my time run out. So therefore, I would just say thank you for your attention. And if anyone is interested to kind of learn more about the work that we do, I also have this YouTube channel. You can always come back and visit. And the same way, I also have the website where you're interested in the scientific literature and the articles. It's also accessible there. So I will stop here.